right, everyone. Hello, hello. Happy March 6th. Happy March in general. I cannot believe how fast this year is already flying by, but we are also officially at session 5 of Product University. So today we have a great one in store for y'all. We're going to get more in depth on some more Riman products. And I also wanted to mention, I know some people were having trouble signing up for the March sessions. So if anyone you know was having issues with signing up for March, just let them know that they can revisit the registration link or the QR code that we have on our flyers, and they'll be able to see the March dates because I want to make sure y'all are all getting this information. But without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So today's conversation is all about lifening. So beauty from the inside out and how beauty is health and health is a total body experience. And so this really encapsulates the final discussion on the Riman lines. You know, we talked about skincare and Riman, and then we talked about your hair physiology and Riman. So now we're looking at total body health and Riman. So to understand lifening and to understand, you know, the aspect of the various products we offer as supplements, let's look at first what supplements are. And so, as I'm sure y'all know, so many things that we consume in our day-to-day lives not only influence our health, but the health of our skin and various other biological processes. So, of course, it's always important to be taking in whole foods, things rich in nutrients, but for certain things, it's possible to essentially supplement your diet. So dietary supplements are things such as vitamins, minerals, herbs, things that claim to promote wellness. And so I want to kind of point out this key use of the word claim. So there's one thing about the supplement market that is well known, and that it is super saturated. There are so many different supplements out there. There are, you know, maybe 10 different types of vitamin D supplements that you can find on these shelves. So what's really important is doing your research into a supplement you're considering buying or considering taking, just making sure that it has the concentration of nutrients that you need. And what's also important to note is that many supplements are actually really beneficial because we cannot get these nutrients otherwise. So otherwise you have a deficiency in your day-to-day life, or you need some form of essential nutrient you are not getting from your food. Supplements are a great way to get that, but it's just really important that you're looking at your supplements closely and choosing. So as I'm sure y'all also know, supplements come in a lot of different forms. You can have gel capsules, pills, powders, tablets, all that good stuff. So really, it is such a robust market to look into for furthering your quest for health. But in understanding the consumption and utilization of supplements, so many of these different supplements come in direct contact with a very specific region in our body that has a lot of importance, and that's going to be our gut microbiome. So we've already talked about the skin microbiome, which is equally as important, but you also have a microbiome in the gut, something that I think is more well known to the average person. So many things that we are consuming can specifically interact with our gut microbiome, which is essentially a huge biosome or biome of bacteria, viruses, fungi, various other microbe species that exist within our intestines. And they do a lot of beneficial things for our bodies. Probably most importantly is the ability to aid in our digestion and to regulate our intestinal motility, as well as the uptake of nutrients in the intestines. So it's pretty important to note that without any microbes, it's actually very difficult for us to survive. So these are the powerful little beings inside our bodies. But what's also cool to know is that there are actually as many bacterial cells in our intestines as there are human cells in our entire body. So they are awesome and they are in abundance. So there are up to 1,000 different species of bacteria in our human gut microbiome alone. And so the gut microbiome often co-evolves with its host. So whatever you eat, your microbiome eats. So that's why you're always pushing towards health in terms of eating whole foods and things with good nutrients, because if you don't, there is the possibility of essentially deleterious bacteria and deleterious species proliferating. And so these are species that can hinder the health of your gut microbiome and ultimately your overall bodily health. So traditionally, the microbiome is helping you digest fiber, it controls your immune system, and it even actually directly helps and regulates your brain health and your mood. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But if you have an imbalance of it, that is known as gut dysbiosis. So when you have essentially an up regulation or essentially a greater existence of these bad bacteria or bad species in your stomach, that's gut dysbiosis. So that's something to keep in mind as we talk about the gut microbiome and the various different connections in our body. So probably the most studied and well-known connection of the gut in our body is that of the gut-brain axis. So the gut-brain axis is essentially the direct connection between your gut microbiome and your brain. And what's important to note about this connection is that it's bi-directional. So that means that feedback from your gut goes to your brain and vice versa. So emotional behaviors, stress, and even depression can all depend on the proper function of your gut, and vice versa. If your gut can depend on a lot of those mood and depression and anxiety characteristics. So, probably one of the most notable and easily defined is, when you're nervous and you have stomach butterflies, that's actually neurotransmitters in your gut microbiome that is causing that feeling of butterflies. So alterations in this bidirectional connection in terms of your microbiome interactions are believed to be involved in the pathogenesis of specific disorders, so specific brain gut disorders. And probably one of the most well-known and studied connection in terms of the gut-brain axis is the connection between gut dysbiosis, so that imbalance in your microbiota, and autism spectrum disorder. So that's actually just something that is clinically studied to better understand the pathogenesis of certain diseases because of a disbalance in your gut. And what's also important to note is that your gut actually has its own nervous system. And so this is called the ENS, or essentially I'm not saying it right, the enteric, there we go, the enteric nervous system. So the enteric nervous system actually has a lot of different neurotransmitters that are created in the gut by your microbiome species. So roughly 90% of your serotonin is actually created and housed in your gut, and about 50% of the dopamine in your body is actually created and housed in your gut. So this really allows us to view how the gut can have a regulation specifically in terms of depression or anxiety disorders. So really maintaining your gut health is extremely beneficial for your overall disposition. So with the gut-brain axis, recently scientists began to discover a new connection in our body, and that is the connection between your gut and your skin. So this is known as the gut-skin axis, which is simply the direct and bidirectional connection between now the gut microbiome and your skin. So again, many things can essentially determine the health of both of these portions of our body. So it can determine the health of your gut, which indirectly essentially determines the health of your skin, and vice versa. So things that determine the health of your skin can determine the health of your gut. So your gut-skin axis can be modulated by diet, lifestyle, and genetics. But what's really important to note with this specific pathway is the main key players. So when we were talking about the gut-brain axis, the main players were in it were the nervous system, were the neurotransmitters, the dopamine, the serotonin, and that kind of feedback to the body. In this instance, it's more connected to the immunologic pathway in terms of inflammatory mediators. So with, general inflammatory either bowel diseases or diseases of the skin, we begin to see a connection. And so in this instance, the most well-studied term, or I guess play, of the gut-skin axis is the connection between psoriasis, which is an extremely inflammatory skin disease, and the inflammation that actually can be found in the gut with those that are suffering through psoriasis. So I could spend a whole product university just talking about the gut skin and the gut brain axes. They are so in depth, and I've only given you, just a glimpse at what they're doing, but I definitely invite you to look more into the research between these two different connections and how much what you're eating and what you're consuming comes into play in terms of not only your aesthetic health with your skin, but also with your disposition. But in terms, of course, of the gut skin axis, because here at Riman, we are always looking at that glow for your skin. We wanted to see, what kind of things people can take in that not only benefits their gut microbiome, but also their skin health. And so one of the greatest things that people can intake for the health of their gut, of course, is whole foods, of course, is genuine, dense, nutrient-rich foods, but also, of course, is fiber. So fiber, or dietary fiber, is found naturally in a lot of different foods. So fruits, veggies, whole grains, legumes, and it's essentially the part of the plant foods that our body cannot absorb, or digest rather. So there are two subcategories of fibers, and that's going to be soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. So soluble fiber is essentially what dissolves in water and creates a gel-like material. So when we later on talk about deep talk, that's considered a soluble fiber. Insoluble fiber also comes into play, though, in the sense that it actually promotes the movement of material through your digestive system, just kind of allowing for something to adhere to as the movement goes through your bowels without saying too much. But the benefits for consuming fiber are numerous. Not only does it normalize your bowel movements, but it helps you regulate and maintain your gut health. And there are also various other really important purposes for consuming fiber, like lowering cholesterol levels and helping control blood sugar levels. So again, this is something that I invite you to research further because it's pretty substantial, the different things that simple fiber can do. Specifically with the lowering the cholesterol level, it's actually really unique how it does that. So soluble fiber actually reduces the rate at which your body reabsorbs bile acid, and bile acid is used to aid in digestion. But when you slow down this reabsorption of the bile acid, your body thinks it needs to make more. And because it doesn't have the specific bile acid that it needs, it's actually going to create new bile acid using cholesterol. And so that is how you're lowering cholesterol, is because it's actually synthesizing bile acid from it. So that's, one of the ways that fiber is actually helping you. Similarly, in terms of helping control blood sugar, there was actually a review done in 2020. And I think they looked at 11 different studies to look at the impact of soluble fiber, specifically in this instance, psyllium husk, on heart disease and blood sugar levels. And they found that essentially it was actually able to reduce the systolic blood pressure as well as start actually reducing some of the blood sugar. So amazing benefits for the health, just taking in fiber. If you have a well-balanced diet, I am sure you're getting enough fiber, but in case you're worried you aren't, here are the daily recommendations for fiber intake. So it depends obviously on your age and the robustness of your digestive system. So women under 50 versus women over 50 are going to have slightly different intakes of fiber. Same thing with men. But fiber is something that is easily supplementable if you are not getting enough in your diet. And it's also easy that you don't necessarily have to worry about getting too much. Of course, if you are suffering from certain things like constipation, that's when you have to readdress your fiber intake. But always taking in fiber is something that's generally beneficial to your body. So in appreciating fiber, there is a specific characteristic of fiber, and that is known as prebiotic, being a prebiotic dietary fiber. So certain fibers can be considered prebiotic in the sense that they actually function as a carbon source for the growth of beneficial bacteria or microbiome species. So in this instance, we said taxa. So essentially what these bacteria are doing in our stomachs with this fiber is that they're fermenting it and metabolizing these prebiotics. And so in that fermentation and that metabolization, they are creating byproducts that are beneficial to your gut health. So for example, when we were talking about, the gut-brain axis and the presence of neurotransmitters, those neurotransmitters were actually byproducts of the bacteria in the stomach after they've fermented whatever, prebiotic or food that they have metabolized. So really in understanding prebiotic dietary fibers, it's important to just kind of think of it as food for beneficial bacteria. And it's also not to be confused with probiotics. So really when you're looking at the prefix of the word, so pre meaning before and then pro, I think means forward. Yeah, so probiotics is kind of like moving forward with the biotics, with the biome. So in probiotics, you're actually introducing bacterial species to the body through your supplements. And so what's important furthermore is for something to be considered a probiotic, the bacterial species you're consuming needs to be able to survive the digestive system and not, be essentially killed off by the acids, et cetera. And then it has to be able to essentially house itself in your intestines. So that is what classifies a probiotic. But in terms of prebiotics, this is just healthy, beneficial bacteria, beneficial food and carbon sources for the bacterial species in our tummies. So the benefits of prebiotics are numerous. Again, not only do they regulate your bowel movement, but they produce neurotransmitters to trigger mood changes and other processes. So again, they do not directly create these neurotransmitters. What they're doing is feeding the bacteria, which in kind produce the byproducts, which are neurotransmitters that help regulate your mood. They also stimulate hormone production that aid in appetite. And in general, fiber is fantastic as a way to kind of maintain your weight. And that's because it makes you feel full. So there are a couple of different ways in which fiber actually really benefits your appetite triggers. Lastly, not only do they improve your immune system because the bacteria in your gut system already have immunologic roles, but they essentially help those good bacteria continue their immunologic roles. And then lastly, they enhance the anti-inflammatory response, again, because these bacteria are so deeply connected to inflammatory responses and inflammatory mediators in the gut, as well as the skin, and as well as the brain for those different axes. So a lot of information. Fiber, let's just think about it as the good stuff for our microbiome and then ultimately for our health and well-being. And so, of course, when I'm talking about fiber, you know that I'm leading to a discussion on deep talk. So deep talk is essentially a fiber product, but I really want to express that it is so much more than a fiber product. Yes, we are saying that it's rich in a certain type of fiber that is going to be beneficial to you in many different ways, but it's also a microbiome aid because it's a prebiotic dietary fiber. It's a health modulator because of all those benefits that prebiotics provide for your microbiome balance. And of course, it's an immunity superstar, again, because of the fiber nature, but also because we've added a couple of other ingredients in there to support your immune system. So Deep Talk prioritizes psyllium as a fiber source. So psyllium is native to the East, and it is a soluble fiber that is derived from the husks of psyllium seeds. So it's essentially its role in, or as a fiber rather, is to slow down digestion, which allows for more nutrients to be absorbed through your intestines. So as I'm sure you know, when you eat things and you need nutrients from it, your body isn't actually getting those nutrients until it's processing through your intestines to eventually come up as waste. So in slowing down your digestion, you're allowing for this nutrient uptake from all the foods you're eating. But it also, again, acts as a prebiotic to aid in your microbiome health. So you're giving all that bacteria, all this good food for it to continue thriving and for it to continue aiding not only your brain health, but also your skin health. So the second thing that's really important about psyllium is that essentially the type of fiber that it is. So it does not cause contractions, which is essentially what stimulant laxatives do. So you're not going to get that really uncomfortable cramping after using this fiber. I will note that maybe at the beginning, if you haven't taken a fiber before, you might notice a little bit of a different feeling in your stomach when you've initially taken Deep Talk Plus, but otherwise there should not be any extreme cramping with this product. However, on the opposite end, it does not draw excess water to soften stools, which would be considered an osmotic laxative. So in all of this, essentially, not only is it not causing contractions, nor is it softening your stools, but really it's applicable to anyone despite their typical gut regularity, or their digestive patterns. So whether you are someone that struggles with diarrhea or constipation, you can still use Deep Talk Plus because it has neither of those characteristics of these laxatives here. And it also contains the zinc, which is necessary for your immune support. So one of the most unique things about Deep Talk Plus, and something that I find very unique specifically to the Western market that we have here in North America, is that it is in a hard pellet-like form. So if you're familiar with psyllium is most often marketed in powder. So something like Metamucil is going to be a powder that you mix with water. It becomes immediately gelatinous and you drink that gelatinous mix. But understanding psyllium's ability to essentially detoxify the body, we wanted to maintain it in its pellet-like form such that that natural gelatinization doesn't occur until the product has reached your intestines. So once Deep Talk gets to your intestines, it begins its natural uptake of water within the intestines. And in doing so, it uptakes impurities existing within that water. And so that greatly magnifies the detoxifying properties of Deep Talk Plus. And I want to note also that I just said that it didn't draw excess water to soften stools like an osmotic laxative. Yes, so any fiber naturally, especially soluble fiber, is going to have a component of absorbing water or essentially binding to water. That is just natural to fiber. But with osmotic laxatives, they take a lot of water. So this is just something that is naturally going to occur with psyllium husks, is that it's going to uptake some water. But in this instance, it's doing it in the intestines and uptaking further impurities to really detoxify the gut and maintain gut regularity, as well as supporting your microbiome health. So Deep Talk is one of my favorite products. I always say that if I said goodbye to Riman, I would always use this and always buy it. It is something that has changed my life. So anyways, let's get into essentially the other profile in terms of the Lifening products we offer here in the US and Canada. And so let's talk about supplementing beauty in terms of beauty supplements specifically. So with beauty supplements, they're products that contain healthy ingredients with the ultimate purposes or promises of promoting hair, skin, and nail health. So, the perceivable aesthetic claims. So they're meant to supplement your topical self-care routines for additional aesthetic benefits. So if you're taking a beauty supplement, but you're also doing something that has an ingredient in it that's benefiting your skin, that's awesome. You're just expounding the potential for benefits for your face. Some common beauty supplements include biotin, collagen, wink, wink, and then fatty acids. So things like omega-3 and omega-6. But on the note of collagen as a beauty supplement, let's get a little bit more into detail about the traditional ways that collagen is supplemented. So firstly, let's look at the profile of collagen itself in our body. So there are actually 28 different types of collagen in the body, but there are essentially 5 most common types are the ones you see listed here. And specifically, type 1 actually makes up 90% of the entire collagen in our bodies. So type 1 is going to be probably the most prevalent and most promising structural protein in the body. It's found in your skin, your tendons, ligaments, bones, teeth, and between organs. And then you go to type 2, type 3, all the way to type 5. And so each of these have a specific role in the body, otherwise providing structural support or connectivity. So type 2 is going to be predominantly located in the cartilage, and it's often sourced for, arthritic treatment. Type 3, skin, muscles, and blood vessels. So it's going to help with the elasticity of your blood vessels and of your skin and muscles. And then type 5 is actually in your eyes and your hair. So I want to clarify that, despite all these different types, and there's, 23 different other ones that I haven't even mentioned, that despite some of them still all being listed that they're in the skin, for example, type 1 is found in the skin, type 3 is found in the skin, and type 5, it's important to understand their different roles. So type 1, it's found in the skin. It's actually the most prominent dermal structural component. So about 80% of your dermis is made up of type 1 collagen. So this is the main structural protein in your dermis. That's what's allowing for the plump youthfulness that you typically want to see in skin. Versus type 3, that's going to be providing more so the proteins necessary for the keratin in your hair and your nails. And then type 3 in a small amount is also in the dermis. So about 10% of your dermis is made up of type 3. And so that's going to actually be promoting elasticity. So its main role in your dermis is for elasticity. And then type 5, that actually in terms of the skin is most commonly found in the dermal epidermal junction. So the dermal epidermal junction is essentially just the connection point between your epidermis and your dermis. So if you see this little picture here, this is the dermal epidermal junction, just between when you're transitioning from the epidermis to the dermis. So type 5 in that instance is anchoring those two together. So in understanding what type of collagen is right for you and looking at what the different types typically do in our body, it's also important to understand the different classifications of their roles if multiple ones are found in a specific area, like skin. So with understanding the different times, or rather the different types of collagen, there's also different types of collagen sources. So you can actually naturally get collagen from specific foods like bone broth or fish skin, although, I'm not one to typically just find some fish skin and eat it. So you can also consume foods rich in specific amino acids or, nutrients or vitamins that are necessary components of the synthesis pathway of collagen in your body. So I've listed here just a couple things like proline and glycine amino acids that help actually in the biosynthesis pathway for collagen, but then also vitamin C, zinc, and copper, all of which play a role in the synthesis pathway. So there's a way for you to still kind of benefit your body in terms of collagen without directly consuming it by just being selective with some of the foods you eat in terms of their amino acid profiles. But if you are wanting to supplement collagen through a collagen supplement, there's even further decisions to be made in terms of the sources, in terms of the characteristics, if it's a powder, if it's a drink. So in understanding the different collagen supplements, there is a lot to appreciate. So collagen supplements do come in various forms, be it powders that you mix into water, pills, or drinks, such as the Beauty Collagen ampule, but there are also a variety of different sources. So animal sources like bovine, chicken, marine, but then also newer to the industry is vegan. And so there's something I really want to know about vegan collagen. So essentially vegan collagens in the market are actually collagen promoters in the sense that they don't contain any collagen, just the building blocks for your body to make collagen. Now, if something is actually a vegan collagen, that it is, it's not a collagen promoter, it contains vegan collagen, the only way that you can make vegan collagen is using genetically modified yeast and bacteria. So to produce collagen from these genetically modified yeast and bacteria, you actually have to use human genes that code for collagen and add it to the genetic structure of these microbes. And then once the genes are in place, essentially this yeast and bacteria can start producing and building collagen. So that's just important to know in terms, I know a lot of people are vegan and I appreciate that and respect that, but that's just something to consider when you're looking at vegan supplements is really look at what the labels claim to you, what the ingredients are, all that good stuff. But in appreciating these different collagen sources, be it vegan or otherwise, oftentimes products have to break down collagen in order to make it bioavailable to you. So collagen in its native form is a very large molecule. So when supplements have collagen for bodily availability, it has to be broken down into either peptides, as you see here, or amino acids. And so this allows essentially building blocks to be provided to your body to then uptake and either use for collagen support or for various other processes in the body. So what are the benefits of collagen supplementation? There are a lot. So postulated benefits include not only hydrating skin, but improving elasticity, improving hair and nail growth, strengthening your bones and muscles, and easing joint pain. And so again, another important thing to note is a lot of this just depends on research and studies. And oftentimes these research and studies are performed by the company that has created the product. So just, looking at the different things, make sure that they have, science-backed goodies just to trust the product you are using. But what's really interesting as well is the different things that collagen is doing in our bodies that you can see here based on the postulated benefits. So that top one, hydrating skin, as you might have remembered, collagen binds very well to hyaluronic acid in our skin as well as to water. So more collagen in your skin equals more water abundance. Same thing with elasticity. With type 3 specifically, you're getting that elastic molecule in terms of that elastic collagen. Type 1, you're also getting elasticity in terms of the dermal support, things of that nature. So many different benefits from collagen supplementation, so many different types, so many different sources, all that good stuff. So in appreciating collagen, you also have to appreciate the administration of it into your body. So especially after we launched the Collagen 100 melting sheet, I got so many questions about collagen, topical or oral. So topical collagen, as I'm sure you'll know, is administered in creams and lotions and serums, and it's often used to treat a specific area and is most often known for its moisturization capabilities to the skin. So obviously when you're using topical collagen products, you are restricted to the area you are applying it to. However, with oral collagen is, not only are you getting the benefits for your skin, but it's also metabolized for various other benefits, such as joint health and hair and nail health. So in appreciating the topical and oral forms of collagen supplementation, scientists suggest that these forms should be used synergistically. It's not either or, it's both. So that's just something to consider in appreciating collagen supplementation. But now we've talked so much about collagen, and I know that there's so much information out there. There's so much out there in terms of different product offerings, but I hope you all know that you do not have to look any further than our Beauty Collagen Ampule in the Lifening line. So our Beauty Collagen Ampule is composed of type 1 marine-derived collagen. Again, remember that type 1 is the most abundant structural protein in our bodies at 90% of all of our collagen stores. And this collagen is specifically hydrolyzed into low molecular weight peptides. And again, this enhances bioavailability. So when we've broken it down into these low molecular weights, the body can readily uptake the collagen and metabolize it for its various processes, either for aiding skin health or for other health focuses of your body. What's also awesome to know, and of course allows us to be unique in the creation of this Beauty Collagen Ampule, is that the specific collagen we utilize in the ampule is actually the first collagen ingredient in Korea to be awarded the IR52 Jongyoung-sil Award. So this award was beginning in 1991, and it was sponsored by the Ministry of Science and Technology. And essentially, it is co-managed by the Korea Industrial Technology Association and the Mail Economy paper. And I might have totally butchered that name, so I apologize. But this award is given out for essentially outstanding new technology and new technology applied to products developed by Korean companies. So just understand that the creation of these collagen peptides for your use and for your bioavailability were awarded something big because of its ingenuity. So that's just something to appreciate with the Beauty Collagen Ampule. But of course, in the Beauty Collagen Ampule, we don't just have collagen. So there are over 20 specialized ingredients in the Beauty Collagen Ampule, even including Byungpo leaf water. We have that in there. But some additional ingredients that I'd like to highlight specifically for skin health are going to be these ones listed here. So first, we have hyaluronic acid, which of course imparts skin hydration and joint lubrication. And so I know we're so used to putting hyaluronic acid on our face. So many of Inselderm's products have hyaluronic acid in it, but you can actually consume it as well and see similar benefits as well as general metabolization of the hyaluronic acid. Furthermore, we have wheat ceramides. So as I'm sure you might remember from our discussion on the skin physiology, ceramides are an important component of your lipid barrier, which is that barrier that your skin creates to keep out irritants and to keep in water for your skin. So as you know, considering ceramides are that natural lipid, oral supplementation of ceramides may actually reinforce the barrier strength and also can help supplement skin hydration. And super important to note about this product as well is, you know, I see wheat, oh my gosh, gluten, but this one actually was tested against the gluten allergy. So this is gluten-free. So if you have celiacs or any gluten sensitivities, excuse me, then you can still take Beauty Collagen Ampule. And then last but not least, biotin. So this B biotin, once supplemented, can essentially alleviate any symptoms of biotin deficiency, such as brittle nails, hair loss, or inflamed skin. So biotin is always a good thing to have, and it's always nice to see something that's recognizable on the label. You know, we always understand biotin as a supplement, especially as a beauty supplement. So that is all the good stuff that Lifening has to offer for now in the US and Canada markets. Let's recap what we just talked about, because as I was talking, I was already getting out of breath. I know that there was so much information, good information, but I understand it's a lot. So in appreciating supplements, supplements exist to fill in nutritional gaps from your diet and daily exposures, such as vitamin D from the sun. If you're someone like me who's working all day and I don't get to see the sun, take in some vitamin D and I'm good to go. So many supplements directly interact with your gut microbiome, which is a diverse grouping of bacteria, virus, fungi that naturally exist in your intestines to regulate gut and bodily health and essentially keep you alive. Without them, you would not be doing so well. So in understanding the gut microbiome, we have to understand the different connections that the body has created between the gut microbiome and the brain, as well as the skin. So we appreciated the gut-brain axis as the direct connection or bidirectional connection between your gut microbiome and your brain. And then similarly, the gut-skin axis is that bidirectional connection and communication between your gut microbiome and your skin. So this is most often modulated by inflammatory mediators as well as your intestinal barrier, versus the gut-brain axis is more involved in the nervous system, so the enteric nervous system. So one of the greatest ways to maintain your gut health and ultimately your total health through your microbiome is through the utilization of prebiotic fiber. So with fiber, it's found naturally in many different things we eat, such as fruits and veggies, and many fibers are considered to be prebiotic in nature in the sense that they provide a carbon source that acts as food for the beneficial bacteria in your gut, which then go on to ferment this carbon to create byproducts that greatly actually regulate our health. So benefits of the prebiotic fibers include not only gut regularity, but improving the immune system and on. So Lifening's Deep Talk Plus prioritizes specifically psyllium husk, which is a soluble prebiotic fiber, to regulate your digestion, but also to promote detoxification. So we kept it in that pellet-like form to allow for the utmost absorption of not only excess water, but impurities in the gut to really maintain overall balance for your body. So Detox Plus is suitable for any digestive profiles, and it also has the addition of zinc for additional support of your immune system. So In terms then of in terms of beauty supplements, then we talked about how we have different goals in taking beauty supplements, specifically for the hair, skin, nails, and the perceived aesthetic health of them. So specifically in looking at collagen supplementation as a beauty supplement, there are so many different choices and forms on the market. So collagen supplementation specifically, there are 20 different types naturally in our bodies. So we look at the 5 most common in terms of collagen supplements. And so type 1 is the most prevalent at 90% of your collagen stores. So you can naturally get collagen from the foods you eat, or you can consume foods rich in the necessary mediators of the collagen biosynthesis pathway in our bodies, such as proline, glycine, and vitamin C. There are also many different types of sources of supplemental collagen, such as chicken, bovine, marine, vegan, and they all have unique profiles in terms of the types they offer, as well as essentially what forms they come in, be it a powder or a drink mix. So Lifening's Beauty Collagen Ampule is a marine-derived type 1 collagen that has been hydrolyzed into low molecular weight peptides to increase bioavailability and to optimize your body's metabolization of this collagen for genuine skin and health benefits. And again, this collagen peptide has won an award in Korea. It is that ingenuous? No, that's not the word. It's that cool. So alongside this collagen, we also have hyaluronic acid, we have wheat ceramides, and biotin, all 3 of which are known to promote skin health in terms of either hydration or reinforcing your skin barrier. And that is all today for Lifening Beauty from the Inside Out. Of course, I made y'all an outline. Please scan it if you want to. We're also dropping the link for you to download. And again, I just wanted to remind y'all that for those who missed maybe getting a link or wanting the recording or the PowerPoint, we're going to release all of that after session 8. And so that will be all available to you after session 8, which I think is March 27th. So March 28th, all this stuff will be out there for you to enjoy again. But thank you so much for listening to me. I know this was a dense topic for sure, but it is so important because truly we appreciate beauty and health as, synonyms. They are the same thing. To feel good is to look good. So we really wanted to prioritize that in terms of our supplement offerings. So next week, it is the Q&A session. So I know last week I mentioned that we're going to have essentially an overview of Ask Base from HQ. But we realized their presentation was so good that it needed its own focus. So that's going to come in a different product university down the line. But next week is that Q&A session. I've gotten some great questions from y'all, and I hope I can do my best to address them and to just alleviate any concerns or general inquiries. But that is next week. So on that note, I will see you next week for Product University session 6. All right. Thank you all so much for watching.